This video is brought to you by my wonderful Patreons. Thank you guys so much for making this video happen. Hey, what's going on, everybody? My name is Chad, and this week we are doing a quickie Japanese study material review. The reason it's quickie is because today has just absolutely been crazy for me. I got woken up by a natural gas leak and then had to evacuate, and then I also had to deal with my elderly diabetic dog not doing well. So I either had the choice of not doing something, which is a choice, or just doing this a bit more quickly. Now, what book is that, you might ask? Today's book is the J501. This is a upper intermediate to advanced bridge, quote unquote, textbook. Now, just so you guys know where I'm coming from, I'm not a massive fan of advanced level textbooks. I feel like if you're at that level, you're probably better off with wordless grammar dictionaries and native materials. However, this is a bridge course for people who typically are formally studying Japanese. You can see why there's a quickie review now instead of a more in-depth review. Now, despite its plain cover, it is actually a fairly decent book. It is niche, you know, it's for upper intermediate learners trying to bridge that gap, jump the shark, as you will, to advanced level and into more native materials, but they're not feeling quite confident enough in their critical reading and writing skills. And luckily enough, the book does have some English, so a lot of books at this level just tend to forsake that. So it's nice, especially for self-studiers. However, probably not the book for self-study. I'll get into that in a second, but let's talk about prereqs for people that are thinking about using this book. I actually have the requirements right here, which is 400 plus hours of formal study of the intermediate level is what it estimates for people who are about to start this book. So if you've done roughly 400 hours of intermediate level studying, this might be the book for you. On top of that, the book comes with a self-evaluation quiz inside that as long as you grade yourself at 60% or above, this is probably a good fit for you. So you've studied 400 hours, you got 60% or more on the test. Hey Chad, is this book for me? Well, it depends. If you were self-studying, maybe, probably not. Because when you get into these upper levels, right, it's not just multiple choice. Life is not just multiple choice. This wants you to be writing your own, essentially short essays. It wants you to be reading critically kind of opinion pieces or interesting things about a culture and then writing your thoughts on it. So you have to be able to pick out the author's opinions and then be able to assert your own, which is something that I'm sure for most beginners or intermediate even is a little difficult. The book also presumes that you either have a teacher, a study buddy, or a friend to go at this with. My assumption is if you are at a upper intermediate trying to go to an advanced level, at some point you've made a Japanese friend or have friends that are studying. So I don't think that's that big of a deal, but if you're saying, hey Chad, is this a book for me to kind of self-push myself into advanced, maybe I would avoid it. Now, each chapter is divided up into a couple different sections, and I have to read this off because I'm not going to get it right off the top of my head. But the first bit gives you basically an opening topic for the chapter, much like the Genki books, if you guys are familiar with them. Each chapter has its own theme, but it expects you to first chat with your friend about that topic and what it brings up. Immediately after, there's some reading that goes on it, something that's usually an opinion piece or maybe a newspaper clipping, something that is a much higher level than what would like a normal textbook reading be. Once you've read through everything, there'll be a detailed breakdown of the grammar from each chapter, each bit that it's trying to teach you, and that's the nice thing about this textbook that I like. The fact that pretty much the entire book has no English. The only part that has English is the explanations of the grammar. So when you're in that first page, when it brings up the topics, that's all in Japanese. When it asks you to discuss and questions to ask, that's all in Japanese. When it talks about the reading, that's all in Japanese. There's no Romanji, obviously, and there's no English. But, and this is my criticism of the Chukyo Manabo books, there wasn't enough English to explain thoroughly the grammar points. This one does have a decent amount of English explaining the grammar. And also nice, that's where that stops, because immediately after the grammar bit, there's a question and answer session that you're supposed to have with your partner again, and then finally you're into the self-work. The self-work equates to about 10 pages a chapter, which most of these chapters are only about 20 pages, so that's half of this book is just solo question stuff. It's having you writing essays, it's having you fill out opinion pieces, it's having you use your critical thinking skills to be able to figure out what these pieces are about. But let's talk about some negatives. All textbooks have negatives. I hardly call this a textbook, but let's consider it. What's a negative with this textbook? A negative would be, like word lists. So I'm a big word list fan. I like being able to just mark off words I already know, and it shows me my progress on how far I am from each goal. I like how each chapter has a theme similar to the Genki books. However, I don't like how the vocab doesn't necessarily match up with that chapter or even give you the vocab for those reading pieces in that chapter. So let's say you read through it and maybe you've come from sources that didn't build into this, that you can then take those word lists, import them into your SRS, and then go back to that chapter and finish. That's how the Genki books are set up, and I prefer that method. This one just assumes you know it or that you will just go through dictionaries and find it. There is word lists at the back of the book, but none of it's done by topic, none of it's done by frequency. It's all just in alphabetical order, which if I just want an alphabetical word list, I can find those for the JLPTs all day for free. So it doesn't really give value to this book. This has been one of my many criticisms of pretty much every textbook that says it comes with one, but the CDs are essentially useless. Now you guys know how we grade these, so we'll just do a quickie grade. The book costs 2,800 yen, or right now about $26 US. Over 10 chapters is about $2.60 a chapter. The price isn't that good for what you're getting in grammar or in vocab, because you can really get that for free online. If you are upper intermediate and you're having a hard time get to advanced level, this obviously very niche, but this is a very good book for you. It will definitely be worth the $26 you pay. For a textbook on upper intermediate Japanese, I wouldn't use this book. There are better upper intermediate textbooks for that. I'm only gonna give it a C, because of how nice it is to have that work material. If it wasn't for that, this would be, I wouldn't even consider it be an F book, especially for 20 bucks, geez. Likewise, this is not a textbook necessarily. It says it's a textbook, it's not. It's a supplemental life material, as far as I'm concerned. I give it a D if you are looking for, grammar and vocab and all that other stuff, because you can get that online for free. But if you are looking for supplemental material to help cultivate your reading and writing in Japanese, I give it a B. It's a bridge course, and if you keep it as a bridge course and a supplemental text to help develop you into advanced, then I would recommend it. And if you guys like this video, be sure to like it down below. Helps people find this video, helps me keep doing what I'm doing, and it means a lot to me personally. So thank you very much. If you guys have any questions, comments, concerns, or compliments, leave them in the box down below. I do read all of them, and I will respond to you timely. Doing a quick warning, April the 14th is a Saturday. There will be no live stream on April the 14th because I will be out hunting my Christmas turkey. But I will be here this Saturday for the Anime Night live stream. I hope you guys will be there as we continue our countdown to 10,000. Likewise, if you guys like this video, or maybe you go to the Saturday night live streams to talk to me, to ask me direct questions about Japanese, so you don't have to wait for the comment to get replied to. Maybe you're a fan of the podcast. I have a funny D&D podcast I do with some other creative types on the Wicked Miscreant podcast channel. If you're a fan of any of that, please subscribe down below. It's free. You will get weekly content every Wednesday, Saturday, I guess now Tuesday and Thursday. Jeez, 4 videos a week. Just simply hit the subscribe button. Now that'll do it for me. I have to go make sure my dog's okay, and I have to go to the gym. So, love hard, love deep, be kind to one another, hug your mother, call her, she misses you, and I will see you on Saturday.